I woke up one day and decided to challenge myself as a Pokemon Nuzlocke. I settled on the infamous Emerald Kaizo and made it my mission to play the best that I possibly could. No battle items, no EVs, and the AI was always on high. This is how it went. After our shenanigans on Dewford, we made our way to Slateport, where I was immediately battled by this sailor here, and I was trying to train up the Charmeleon, but it had a very bad day. I ended up not getting this good matchup with the seal, but thankfully Ariados was not only able to take the water attack, but he was able to also take care of the Growlithe that preceded it right after, so that was some good experience. However, Charmeleon proceeded to have a very terrible day, because not only did every single trainer on the beach lead with a water type first, but this whole thing happened where a Delibird froze it for how many turns was that? Like 5 turns, where it just couldn't beat an ice type even. And so at that point, I had actually really lost a lot of confidence in Charmeleon and stopped using him altogether. Chimecho had an incredibly tough battle against this Quilava, but he was able to get the job done despite the burn, and this recover that he has is actually amazing since I'm not able to use in-battle items, and of course it made light work of the Machop as well. With every single trainer on the beach now being defeated, I was able to buy a lot of Soda Pop because they're going to be very helpful moving forward. Once I finally made it to the first grass patch and walking around for several minutes on speed up, I actually encountered a Pikachu, which I believe is another rare encounter. I did a good amount of damage with that first attack, went into Chimecho for the paralysis. I did end up getting paralyzed myself, funny enough, but I went ahead and chucked the Pokeball, and it was resisting for a while. It took a lot of attempts actually, and it had Seismic Toss to my surprise. I wouldn't have ever expected that. It even broke out of the Great Ball, and finally, after all these attempts, I caught the Pikachu. But for whatever reason this happened, I don't know what's real anymore. Going up north, I actually got my encounter out of the way first, and it was a Nuzleaf. It's not something that I could really think that I'm going to use right away, but it is another Pokemon that I could catch, and I caught it with ease. After making my way to the museum, I ended up going into this battle over here, and I led off going up against a Shelder with my Marshtomp. However, I got confused really easily off of that Water Pulse, and that's been happening a lot, so I feel like the Water Pulse confusion rate has actually been changed and upped a lot. So I'm going to have to get my hands on that move eventually. Thank God for that crit Sludge Bomb. But we have an aerial acing Vigoroth up here next. And Ariados was in trouble for a second, but managed to take down that as well. And is going up against a Croconaw now. So these grunts are getting significantly stronger. I'm going to have to go ahead and swap out Ariados now to keep it alive here. I took the body slam, decently well before finally knocking out the Croconaw and going up against a Staryu. I kind of let my guard down, but I somehow flinched to the Water Pulse, which shouldn't be a thing, and I got confused as well. And just the fact that Water Pulse can now also flinch is ridiculous. I know that there's a lot of moves that have been changed in secret ways, so this is the only way that I can know how things have been changed is when they happen against me. Watch it be my luck too that Wynot is the next Pokemon that I have to fight for the second battle, and I ended up Bubble Beaming. Thank God I went for counters to the Mirror Coat. This piece of shit Wynot has a Citrus Berry too. Thank God Marshtomp was able to finally take it out. Baby Pokemon is no problem, and I wiped that out with a quick Mud Shot. And here comes a Clamperl, and typically I wouldn't be afraid of this thing whatsoever, but thank God that I swapped, because that Muddy Water definitely would have killed Marshtomp. I had a bad feeling, and I just can't trust a lot of these Pokemon that seem innocent. I managed to get the paralysis hacks and enough so that I could set up a bunch of flashes to safely side beam it to death, because I did not want to risk a thing. I ended up getting paralyzed on Chimecho and confused with another Water Pulse, but I managed to get that out of the way. And going up against a Wailmer who self-destructed, I lived on, what was that, 11 HP. I'm going to have to swap for this Dragonite, or Dratini, excuse me, because of course it has Dragon Rage. I have no idea really what to do, and I have to go into Nidorina. And instead of going for the Dragon Rage, it paralyzes me. I have to hit this next one. I live on 1, and I managed to break through paralysis and beat this grunt. I ended up swapping out Charmeleon for Ivysaur because Charmeleon's been a massive liability, and I also decided to train up this new Mawile that I had, or at least I tried to train it up, because you can't find an encounter worth a damn in Slateport City. Wish us luck.
Turn your appearance to a disappearance. I with nothing but gangsters, nothing but hustler niggas. Sound off, sound off.